What's up YouTube? Welcome back to my video. My name is Nicole and this is my fitness journey. Today we're going to be talking about fitness trackers. I am a movement expert. For those of you who don't know, I am a doctor of physical therapy. So I'm going to be giving you a doctor's point of view, if these are worth it, what I like about them, what I don't like about them. Before we get into it, let me mention the type of workouts I do, because each fitness tracker, depending on the type of workout you do, there's pros and cons to each one. So I do majority weightlifting and then Pilates and the occasional run if it's nice outside. We're gonna look at the Apple Watch. I have the Series 7, the Garmin Venu 2S, and then the Whoop. Let's start with the Apple Watch. I've been an avid Apple Watch user for years. I think I started with the second one and I am all the way up to Series 7. I have not been wearing it for the past 6 months because I've been wearing one of the other trackers. Let's start with pros, what I like about it. One, I really like that it connects to your phone. So some people might see that as distracting or always having technology with you. When you're in a profession that you can't really use your phone a lot because you're with people or whatnot, it's nice to get notifications, because if there's an emergency, at least I can quick look at it and attend to it if I need to. The Garmin does also connect to your phone, but it's not as smooth. Obviously, having two Apple products communicate is going to be a much better experience than having a non-Apple product and an Apple product communicate. Besides being able to connect to my phone, let's talk about kind of the fitness features. Now, I know Apple has upgraded a lot, and I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe a lot of the good fitness features are in the Ultra, which is over $1,000 for a watch, and I'm not gonna spend that amount of money on a watch. No thank you. Bring that price down, Apple. But anyways, let's start with a basic workout. I feel like it gives a pretty accurate description of your workout. Heart rate has always been pretty accurate for me using the Apple Watch. Calories burned is so hard to really get an accurate description. Most fitness trackers can be all over the place with calories burned. So I really try not to look at that too much. And if you are getting into fitness, health, you should not be basing your workouts off of how many calories burned. You should ultimately go off of feeling. Did you put in the most amount of effort that you could? Stuff like that. I like the Apple Watch for runs or HIIT workouts because you can customize your interval time. So I like to do interval runs, and I will set 30 seconds on or 30 seconds off. It'll automatically buzz on my wrist when that time is up, so I don't have to constantly check my phone while I'm working out. Apple does have other features, like you can connect your music or download music onto it and listen to it without bringing your phone. I've never used those features just because if I'm going on a run, I want to have my phone just in case something happens and I need to call someone. So I'm typically always with my phone. I also love the ping my iPhone feature because I lose my phone a lot, or I set it down, I don't remember where I put it. So that is so nice to just ping your iPhone and you can find it right away. As far as accuracy with distance, steps, all of that, I have had no issue with Apple. I believe it's pretty accurate in those areas. There are some other features on there, like your O2 saturation, and just from my perspective, I think they could be good tools. Maybe if one of those are alarming, a good thing in your brain to maybe call your physician. However, from my perspective, I don't believe that it's accurate. I don't believe that you can accurately get that from wearing something on your wrist. I mean, overall, I think the Apple Watch is a good all-in-one. Digital, connecting to your phone, and basic fitness. It does track other things like sleep, all of that. However, the charge does not last long enough for you to track your sleep. Now I have Series 7. I know if you get a newer one, the charge is always good, but then a year later the charge is bad. So I have to charge it every night, and therefore I can't really wear it to sleep. So I've never really used the Apple Watch to track my sleep or any of that. And then I will say where Apple lacks is just kind of the recovery aspect. So working out is important, but if you're not recovering, you're not getting optimal workouts. Now there may be more in the newer versions, but like I said, the newer versions are so expensive. I'm not buying those. It doesn't really give you an insight into like how your body is doing. As a doctor who looks at movement, rehab, recovery, all of that, that would be one of the downfalls with the Apple Watch. But other than that, I like it. Next, let's go into the Garmin Venue 2S. Now, I'm gonna try not to be biased with this one, but let me just put a disclaimer in. I'm not too happy with Garmin. I originally got this watch because I wanted to start running more, and I wanted a watch that was geared more towards running. This also gives a little bit more insight to recovery because it has like body battery on there. So I wanted to get something that was a little bit more fitness oriented, which is why I got this. I used it for 4 to 5 months, and then it broke. My screen just started glitching. Like anytime I would sweat a ton, my screen would glitch. I contacted Garmin. They told me to update the software, and I did everything they told me to do, and let's just say it didn't work. I gave up and never wore it again. I'm gonna talk about my experience before Garmin broke. One thing I like about the Garmin is the aesthetic. I got the gold one. It is nice. It matches my daily aesthetic versus my Apple Watch is like a little chunky, and then the Whoop is like a black band. So this matches my outfits much better. Like I mentioned before, connecting with your phone, it can do it, but it's just not the greatest. Honestly, if you have an iPhone and you have a Garmin, I would just say don't connect the two and mainly use your Garmin for your fitness. With workouts on this, I really like how it tracks the workouts. I think it does a great job. The heart rate sensor is accurate. The runs are accurate. I have no complaints with how it tracks workouts. I liked the view of runs. This is definitely more for runners. The split time, all of that, much more accurate with the Garmin versus my Apple Watch. The Garmin app has a lot of features as well. Like I said, it has your body battery, so that's kind of gives a little insight on how your body is doing that day. If your battery is lower, you might want to do a recovery day, or if your battery is higher, you might be able to push a little harder in your workouts. This also tracks sleep, and I did use the feature because the battery lasts way longer in this one. Honestly, I'm a terrible sleeper. I toss and turn all night. Sometimes I don't think the trackers really realize that even though I'm moving, I'm awake, because when I look at my sleep score and all of that, it'll say I stayed asleep for the entire night, and I know that's not true. I do notice that this one doesn't really catch the amount of time I'm awake. I would say if it didn't break on me, fitness-wise, the Garmin has a lot more to offer if you are looking to get a watch more for fitness, something that still has a screen and caters to fitness. I would say that the Garmin does a really great job with that if it doesn't break. And if Garmin's watching this, I need a new one. Let's get into the tracker that I have been wearing for like the past 6 months, the Whoop. Now this is not new. This has been out for a while. I just seen more about it, so I wanted to try it out. Obviously something different right off the bat is there's no screen. So this is literally a fitness tracker. That's it. And that's kind of the whole method behind Whoop, is They don't want it to be a watch. They want to put more money into the qualities that give you your fitness output. Now you can get different bands and different colors. I just have black. It is a monthly subscription, so a little bit different like the two that I already reviewed. You buy those up front and then that's it. And then the Whoop you pay monthly. It's like $30, so it's not bad. And then you do have to pay extra if you want like the different colored bands and stuff. Now from someone who works with athletes, I would say that the Whoop is definitely the best when it comes to tracking fitness. The main thing about this is strain versus recovery. Like I stated before, if you're not recovering, you're not getting the best out of your workouts. And just from a doctor's perspective, if you're not recovering, you actually might be hurting yourself more. So with this, it tracks your workouts. I would say it humbles you a little bit on the calorie side, because when you compare Whoop calories versus like my Garmin or my Apple, I burn way less calories during a workout. Like I said before, you shouldn't be basing your workouts off of that, but it is a little humbling when it's like half the amount of calories that I thought I was burning. I do think it is a little inaccurate on that aspect, because if I'm doing a full-blown HIIT workout, I definitely burned more than 100 calories. All right, so strain versus recovery is kind of what Whoop focuses on. So strain is basically whatever you're doing during that day. So it takes into account your workout for the day, just general stress for the day, hydration, all of that. It does give you an HRV every day. So HRV, for those of you who don't know, HRV is heart rate variability, which is the amount of time between each heart rate. That number can be used to basically tell how recovered your body is. A longer HRV usually indicates you're a little bit more recovered, and then a shorter one is less recovered, or something else might be going on. So with all those features, they basically Whoop will come up with like what your daily output should be, or recommended output should be. I would say that it is pretty accurate. Like on days where I know that I've hydrated well, I've recovered well, I got good sleep, I know the next day that my daily recommendation is going to be a little bit higher, versus if I drink or go out, I know the next day it's going to be a lot lower and my recovery is going to be pretty bad. And I would say that it's pretty accurate as far as how I'm feeling internally. There's only been a couple of days where I woke up and it said that my recovery was bad, but I felt fine. The Whoop takes about 30 days to get an accurate reading, because it's kind of like getting your body profile for 30 days, and then it starts to get more accurate after that. The sleep tracking is pretty accurate. It does catch when I'm awake, not all the time, but better than the other two that I have. And then it also gives you that sleep score of how well you slept in the night. The only thing I don't like about Whoop is, in order to get an accurate strain if you're weightlifting, you have to input your exercises, reps, sets, weight, all that, which is fine. I don't mind doing that. However, the library of exercises is so limited, and you can make your own exercise, but it would just be easier if they had all the exercises in there. I feel like it should be a bigger library, but that's just me personally. I would like to see more exercises instead of always having to create my own exercise. Whoop is really good on the strain recovery side of things, and I like to view that because it gives a little bit more science. I feel like as a company, they're a lot more science-backed behind their fitness tracker versus the other ones. However, there's still stuff that they lack. For example, steps. A week ago, they just added a step count in, and I feel like that's pretty basic. That should be added in right away. Also, definitely not for runners. If you're a runner, this is just not for you, because it doesn't really track how far you're going or any of that. There's no screen, so you can't see if you like to see your mile time or your split pace or any of that. you can't see that. So definitely not for runners. If you like to wear multiple trackers, it would be good for runners, because runners sometimes, I'm not calling out my running community, but sometimes don't recover how they should. So it could give insight into that. But if you want to see your mileage, all of that, it's not for runners. Like I said, I've been wearing this for the past 6 months. I really like it. I'm torn if I want to go back to my Apple Watch, because I do miss having the screen, or just do no tracker. Because at the end of the day, from my perspective, the most important thing is movement, and just listen to your body. Trying to do some sort of movement every day, but if you obviously wake up sick or something, take a rest day. That's the most important thing. You can have all the fitness trackers in the world, they can all be super accurate or inaccurate or whatever, but ultimately you gotta go off of how you feel. If I had to choose one that I like the most, I would probably say I like Whoop the best, because it does give a lot more insight into your body and how you've recovered. That is all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, if you have questions, I can try to answer them. I'm not an expert on any of these. I'm only an expert on movement. Let me know. Otherwise, I will see you guys in next week's video. Bye.